JAKOV Lind was an Austrian Jew who escaped the Holocaust by faking his identity and daring to live in Germany during the war. His daughter, Oona Napier, will read one of his short stories in which he describes the Deya he knew and loved.
I belong to the generation of existentialists of the late 40s. As long as I care to remember, the coffee house was my church, my community hall, and my party headquarters. When World War II was over for us, all war had come to its end, for good. Neither Korea, nor Cuba, nor later Vietnam could shake an existentialist out of his chair at the Select or Dermago. In fact, nothing could make us move except an overdose of alcohol or the accidental encounter with a total stranger. We, the fathers of beatniks and grandfathers of hippies, did not believe in bloody revolution, much less in any war. I came to the northwest coast of this island, Mallorca, in 1966 for the first time with the original intention to write a film on an artist colony, a retreat in the sun. After more than 20 years, I still have no plot. I've gathered a vast cast of characters, on the other hand. My friends who have all at some time or other told me that it's the result of the magnetism of the mountains that makes them come back year after year. If it could be arranged, they'd probably never leave here. The place has 500 inhabitants, according to the guide, but in fact twice that number in the summer. It has a short main street of maybe 12 houses on either side of the road. 5 feet above street level is the terrace. The old-timers still call it Tomeo's, though its name has changed to Bar Palmeras. The terrace of Tomeo is the center where it all happens, whatever that is. When I came here 20 years ago, the chairs on the terrace were occupied by a bunch of Americans, discharged GIs, who'd made their home in Paris after demobilization. There were a fair number of bruisers who came to be close to the poet Robert Graves, who'd lived in the village since the end of the 20s. There were a few Argentinians, a few French, many Germans, a well-known poetess from San Salvador, half a dozen writers, and more than 50 painters. The outside world did not exist for us. We barely saw any newspapers, rarely listened to the news on the radio. TV did not exist in the village. When the Six-Day War in the Middle East broke out on June the 6th, 1967, I heard about it perchance. Kortuschek, a German painter living in London with his Jewish-English wife, was bent over a little portable radio on the terrace, and people crowded around the table to listen to the latest news. I was told that I might, maybe, borrow a portable radio from Robert Graves. When I entered his gate, Robert was at his hobby cooking his jams in the garage. "Robert, may I borrow a radio?" "Why? What's happened?" "Israel and Egypt are at war since this morning," I told him. Poor Egyptians haven't won a war since 1395 BC, was his only comment. And Robert went on with his work. That approximately says it. The world beyond the horizon might suddenly disappear in a mushroom cloud. We wouldn't have known. We certainly couldn't care less. We were too far removed from reality. No electricity, no telephone, buckets drew water from the wells. 2 dusty roads led to the Cala, the beach and the bay. Before TV taught the native Mallorcans the pleasure of beach life, they never came down for a swim. The place, the entire bay, belonged to a few dozen foreigners. No music was ever played so as not to shatter the silence, except for a single flute, maybe, played on the rocks at sunset. Stillness of an echo chamber. Every whisper could be heard from the distance. The bells on the necks of the sheep grazing above the Cala, the crickets in the pines were the sole accompaniment to Norman's flute. It used to be the land of silence. Except the dinners. The dinners were noisy family affairs with dogs and cats and babies crawling on and under the table. A cozy mess. The full moon parties in the silvery warm nights when everyone played an instrument after dinner until the early hours of the morning. The nights of poker at Michel Vu's. Matty playing the bongo drums. Wild dancing, high on acid, angel dust, mescaline and hashish. Midsummer Night's Dream in Shangri-La. Only 45 minutes by taxi from Palma Airport. It couldn't last that long forever. It was too good to be true. Far too good. Present. A Saturday night, different people, mostly young, pack the bar Palmeras. Ollie and his rockers shatter the silence. At times his voice reminds us of Joe Cocker. A few hundred yards away, on the public playground, another concert. Kevin Ayres and Bibiloni on electric guitars. Swarms of teenagers arrive by car from Solia, Valdemosa, and even all the way from Palma. The locals from behind long tables sell beer and whiskey, wine and Coca-Cola. The village policeman keeps an eye on the few drunks. A single girl dances to the rhythm, whirls like a dervish, throws her arms up in ecstasy. It's Amali, a crazy young American girl, and no one has the heart to order her off the stage. The noise is devastating. The entire village at the foot of the huge mountains can't go to sleep with this noise going on. The guests at the Hotel Residencia and the Hotel Esmeli try to shut out the noise and close their windows. On the terraces of Carlos's bar and Christian's bar, of Paco's and Canquet, the diners and coffee drinkers are forced to listen to the ear-deafening noise. At the French and the Swiss restaurant, at the bar Palmeras, the waiters try hard to clear out their last guests, eager to get to the rock concert. It's full moon. Groups of people and couples of lovers walk through the olive groves and wind their way down to the beach for a midnight swim. Campers have lit small fires in front of their tents on the terraces above the Cala. Out here on the shore, the silence in the bright light of the full moon seems unaffected by what goes on in the village. There is an ultimate melancholy in the beauty of the landscape, the eerie feeling of living somewhere in the beyond. I spent an evening at the house of Tere and Javier in the large rambling kitchen of their farmhouse. Tere is about 40, married to Javier, the doctor of the village. Around the table are Marietta, their daughter of 18, Gabo, 13, their son Tito, 11, and Raquelita, 8, plus Jean-Claude, a quiet, slim, handsome Frenchman, a gardener, and Guillermina and her small boy, Tony. Guillermina's 26, a very pretty local Mallorquin girl. Toys and food are strewn about the kitchen. Tere's voice over loud music and agitated conversation in Spanish. Do you know what I think? We are all dead. All of us. We are in paradise. That means we must be dead. Sometimes I think I should go back to Madrid, to the land of the living. I just came back from Madrid. We had a wonderful time with my brothers, Jose and Pirata, but I'd never live there again. I'd rather be dead here than alive in Madrid. Javier, classic Spanish looks, pronounced nose and a beard. He is about 40, little hair on his scalp. Javier cooks the paella for lunch. Javier, I don't understand all this bullshit. What are you saying? Hombre, you are crazy. You don't know what is dead. I know what is dead. I see dead people all the time. She is crazy. Terry screams, dead! Yes, we are dead. What do we need? Nothing. It's all perfect. Look, look. She points to the olive groves and the sea. The children and everyone at the table laugh. Javier, you need nothing? Don't make me laugh. I give her every penny I earn, and she spends it in one day. Tere, what do you expect? It's expensive. Everything costs money. Paradise has its price. Javier, so, how can you say we are dead when I have to make a living? Which reminds me, Fat Miguel this bastardo asked me to take a sheep instead of money. He owes me a lot of money. Tere, did you take the sheep? Javier, you bet. We are going to kill it and have a big party next week. Tere, claro, claro. We'll have a big party. Javier serves his family lunch. Everyone starts to eat. Food and wine are spilled. The cat eats the butter. Next door, a donkey brays in the stable. Guillermina's child falls from the chair and screams.